everyone. It's Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Craps over here on the Casino Gaming YouTube channel, and I believe that we are now live. It never fails. It is always that way, that somewhere along the line, at the last minute, something goes wrong with my audio. I had no audio whatsoever. We've got a good panel already with us tonight, guys. If you would like to join the channel today and join the show tonight, it's very simple. I pinned the Zoom link in the chat. It's also in the description down below. Let's go ahead and get the show started. Since I'm just a few minutes behind, I'm going to bring all the guests on right away, and we'll talk to them. So hello to, we've got Dylan, my good friend Dylan Skill and Luck, who kind of had me fooled today because I was not able to talk to Dylan today. So how are you doing today, Dylan?
I'm doing okay. Sorry for the scare.
Yeah, well, you know, I have to go standbys. John's always a standby, but he's part of the show. He's here almost every Sunday that he can be here. That's John just beneath me there. And then I asked Ed to come in at the last minute just in case you couldn't fill in. He was gracious enough to join us. So, John, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing solid. I'm tired, but I'm doing good. It's been a long weekend, but I am so glad to be here and just chilling.
Yeah, Bertie told me.
Love this show.
Yeah, Bertie told me you had to work over the weekend. Is that true?
I haven't stopped working all weekend. I took like an hour off last night to do a live, and I forgot to press the damn public button or the private button, so it was a waste. But I've been working like we have a thing happening at work right now, so I need to drink with you all and just talk about nonsense for a while. That's what I need in my life. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, you're always welcome here on this show. And we also had Ed at the last minute. I said, Ed, I don't have Dylan. I've texted his wife. I've texted him. I called his wife. I called him. No Dylan, and all of a sudden he appeared at the last moment. But Ed, welcome to the show. Everybody that doesn't know, that's Ed from Roll to Win. Good evening, Ed. How are you? Good. Let's go ahead and bring our panel on. Who's in the room, the Zoom room so far, that's here tonight with us. And we actually have Craig from Old Bay Craps, but before Craig showed up, we had Randy. Randy, you're a newcomer to the show. How are you doing tonight?
Not too bad. Like I said, this is the first time I've come in, and I just like to thank all you guys for the content you put out, because it's helped me a lot, and it seems like a real nice group of guys.
Well, some of the guys are nice. They say I'm not nice, but I try to be as nice as I can be. We've got a lot of people in chat. I'll say hello to them in a minute. But Randy, tell them how easy it was to get in the show. It was easy, wasn't it?
It was easy. I just clicked on the Zoom link and got a hold of you, and you popped me right in.
Yep. So if somebody would like to join the show, it's really simple. It's in the chat this week. It's also in the description below. Hit it. When you come on, I have to recognize your name, so make sure I know who you are. We'll let you in, and then you'll be able to come on the show. Craig from Old Bay Craps. Craig, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, John, are we showing off our double deuce hats? Is that what we're doing? I'll show off mine.
Ian's here too somewhere. I know Ian was here. I saw him a little while ago, but I just haven't been able to check the chats.
Good evening, Jeff. Good evening, Dylan. Good evening, Ed. John?
What just happened there?
Old Spice, good to smell you.
Welcome, Randy.
Thank you.
You guys keep talking while I make one more adjustment over here, because I have no idea what is going on with even my.
Where did John go?
Are supposed to blow.
We lost John.
I got. Yeah, where did John go? I got to put him on the screen. Hang on, guys. I got to adjust it and get John back on the screen. Give me 1 second here, guys. Let me get that off the screen. There we go. That is the show link. So let me get that off of the screen, and let me add John over here to the screen. Wow, John, sorry about that, buddy. I thought I hit the right screen, and evidently I did not hit the right screen. That's two of Ed's. That means that should be John. And we do this on the fly. I'm telling you guys, at the last minute, my computer went crazy. If you want to hear somebody cuss
Say hi to the wife,
like a sailor, I certainly did do that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust John right
there. He is.
Yeah, but I'm going to move
John.
I'm going to move the other screen over so that it looks more realistic. There you guys go. Now you can show off your. Now you can show off your double deuce hats, correct?
Double deuce.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So I was trying to put Ian's chat up there, but for some reason it disappeared on me, and I'm going to try it again because he was the second one that was here. tonight, and that's whose hat that is, right?
Yep, that's Ian's hat. Yep.
Yep. Wow.
I randomly picked Ian's shirt today, and I thought, hey, let's rock the hat too. Why not? Ian, by the way, I talk about Ian all the time. That dude's working his butt off for the Seattle meetup, and wait do you see the amount of work that goes into the Craps for the Cure in November. He's a dude. He's a dude, and he deserves a lot of respect. So,
well, John, why don't we?
I want to always push him out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we? I cleared him off the screen, but why don't we go ahead and start the show? Let's talk about the Craps for the Cure coming up, the November Veterans Day weekend, and while you're there, go ahead and talk about your meetup in September.
Sure. Well, the meetup in September is the 15th to the 17th that weekend. And I said this on my other show, and everybody needs to know this. The weekend after that, which is the 23rd, that's I've been talking to Crystal. I'm texting with her actually right now. That is Chiro's celebration of life in their hometown in Missouri. So I've been begging for people to come to see me in Seattle, but if you have to choose one, choose Chiro. Right? We're going to do this every year at my house, but that's only ever going to happen once. So. I'll have details. All I know is that you fly into the St. Louis airport or the Springfield airport, and they're about an hour or so away from that one, and that's that weekend. That's all I know. The only details I have there. But yeah, our meetup here in Seattle is going to be it'll be fun. We got a couple of private tables planned. We got baseball game planned. We got playing around in my garage planned. It's going to be cool.
All right. Well,
yeah,
I'm sure.
And then we'll start talking about. Oh, it's going to be great. But we'll talk about Crash for the Cure after that one. Let's kind of pause on that one until we let's get past my meetup and let's get past Chiro's celebration. We have 2 months then to plan Crash for the Cure, but that's going to be, as you know, PTSD focused, and we're locked and loaded for the 11th and 12th that weekend.
All right. Well, I told you about your meetup. It's a lot of travel for me to be able to do, and
I know.
Somebody tried to convince me to go to your meetup, fly to Vegas for a day or two, go to Chiro, come home, turn around and do it all again in November. But
that's what I'm doing. I'm doing that. I'm actually going to I'm flying to Chiro's thing. I'm going to fly to Georgia and try and play with a few people that we know. And then I'm going to go to Florida to visit my mom for a week and then fly back home. I'm going to make that one whole thing. It's going to be insane travel.
All right.
Yeah.
So, wow, I'm actually trying to get caught up here on the chat screen because you know the issues
There's
I
a
had
lot.
there before we went live. Yeah, it was an awful lot that's come in already. Guys, I see a couple questions coming in. Just a reminder, I didn't do that because the show didn't open normally. Capital Q. I will be able to filter through your questions if you have a question. A couple have come in. And also, if you have a question for anybody on the show or maybe anybody in chat that you'd like to redirect a question to, either put their name in capital letters or their initials or whatever, and we will try to get to them. I'm trying to say hello to everybody that is here tonight. There's a whole mess of people and 40 people watching already. I'm not going to be able to say everybody in chat. If you're in chat, if you would, go ahead and say hello to us. That would be really nice of you. So I know I've missed some people here. I would like to extend a sincere thank you to everybody that sent me messages overnight this morning about the show last night over with HCS. Brian's supposed to pop in here from Hawaii Crap Shooters. I don't want to make this show about me. I just want to thank you guys for all the fine messages that you sent me. I really appreciate that. All right. If you have a question, capital Q, and we'll get to the show. We'll see how this show is going to go today. The show is all about you, the viewers, the subscribers, anybody watching. If you're new to Craps, we welcome new questions. Don't be afraid to ask silly questions here. I'm in probably about 20 different forums between bulletin boards and Facebook and Discords and Skypes, and sometimes people ask some silly questions and they jump on them for asking a silly question. Here, we don't do that. We just answer it as openly and honestly as we can, and that's the name of that tune. Oh, my goodness. I see some new people in the chat, too. Welcome to everybody. I'm not going to be able to pin everybody because we're already above 100 chat messages. It's too much for me to keep up with. So, excellent week in Craps this past week. John, you had some really good shows. Craig, your show that you put out today, I don't know if you saw my comment on your video.
I haven't responded yet.
I said it was fun to watch, but I mean it was fun, but it was hard to watch. Craig, I think you did everything you could do to see how quick you could lose $500. But it was a fun one. So Ed, you put out a couple shorts here recently. They seem to be kind of both entertaining and educational. What do you? I know we chatted earlier today. One of them got a lot of views. The other one has been educational. I like shorts because they're a minute
It's
long.
an experiment. It's an experiment.
Yeah, and
I get bored and I try to do things. I'm not at a casino, so I shoot shorts. So anyway, there's going to be a bunch coming out. So the regulars, they might not want to. I mean, you're going to get a lot of notifications, I guess, but there's going to be a lot coming out. And it's driven. I mean, I had like 1,800 views today, and like picked up 20 something subscribers already off the two. So
nice.
it's kind of weird.
Nice.
Like I say, it's an experiment.
Shorts are weird, man. I'll tell you what. When I get stuck in the shorts rabbit hole on YouTube, I don't know about y'all, but I skip every gambling one. Like they come up and are always kind of like, I'm just hunting down funny ones, and like I find myself treating YouTube shorts like my own personal TikTok for politics and for fun stuff. I wonder about us doing shorts if we just do rants. If that might be the way for us to get the views on those things. If that might be the secret.
You sound like you've done one before.
I have not. I've only done one ranty kind of short, and I got a ton of views on it. But you got to kind of come up with something to rant about in a short amount of time. But those to me are compelling. Like I try to do these teachings.
Took place with that with what just happened. I had a very slight power surge. Everything went out. My ups didn't even keep everything up and running that it was supposed to be doing, and I really don't know. That was really odd. Hope that doesn't happen again. If it does, this will be a very short show today, and hopefully we are back live on YouTube. I'm just trying to make sure that we are as I navigate through here. Says we're live. Let's see if we are live.
We are. I just refreshed. I'm going to tell them.
Yay, we are live. Hey, guys, I have no idea. To Randy, if you come back into the Zoom call, I'll let you back in. Wow, those things happen. I guess with technology, it really is. It is odd that those things happen. John, if you're watching, please rejoin us over here on the Casino Gaming YouTube channel. There's Lucas coming in, so he'll be able to come into the show. Wow, where did we leave off at? I don't even know where we left off because all of a sudden it just went kapooty.
I don't know. You need to say hi to Dylan.
Dylan's there. Yeah, Dylan. I've already said
I'm back.
Dylan. Yeah, he's there.
I'm back.
Yeah. All right. Good. I'm
back. So, I'm sorry. I didn't know how to I don't know how to reload. I'm sorry. I was actually going through all the chats, Jeff, and getting all the cues highlighted. Frank says to John, go to the potty. No,
I don't. I actually.
No,
I had a slight power surge. Not all of my not everything quit, but the computer reboot, and I have an ups on the computer. It shouldn't have done that. Technology is what it is, John. We're performing with computers, and I had an issue prior to that with the sound, and I don't know if it was all to get connected together or not.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
I can
I can hear you. And
I don't see anybody else though.
I see him on the.
I see me on the screen and it's working.
Let me get rid of their audio so they can see us once again. They must not be able to see us. Video start. There we go. And audio over here.
There he is. Are you in?
Yeah. Yep. You guys are here. You guys are
Hello.
here. Don't worry about it.
I don't see everybody.
No, I see you and me, and that's it.
We'll mute them while I. Try.
We can see the Zoom, but they can't see or hear us. It sounds like.
Yeah.
While you're working on that, I want to tell you something. For those of you that are content providers, just came out this afternoon. I got it off the very reliable YouTube. There is a hacker or a scammer on the Facebook side that is downloading content on major channels, uploading some of it into, and they're building a Facebook page on the same name, and then they're turning in the other person as a copyright violation and getting their channels pulled down.
I have
and it's happening to a lot of people on the Facebook side. I don't use Facebook for
Wow.
mine, but
Me
if any of you do, it could happen.
Wow,
I
I hadn't
guess.
heard that. I rage quit Facebook like 2 or 3 months ago.
Lady
Like,
Luck.
that's scary. Wow.
Lady Luck just posted a video this afternoon, right before this show started, and I caught it. And she's no small potatoes, and somebody
No.
had created an account under her name on Facebook, and then turned her in twice in the last 2 weeks for a copyright violation on her own material, and then they turned in other channels for violations as well, and so those channels are getting pulled down by Facebook.
That's crazy.
And she's got 500,000 followers on that thing.
Wow, that is crazy, really crazy.
So beware.
Wow. So what did I say last week when my daughter's car got broken into? People suck.
Yeah.
People pretty much suck. That's sad.
All right.
Yeah. So public service announcement from Ed.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed. Yep. Randy, you're on.
I don't do it,
back
but I
on
know
now?
some of you guys
Yeah,
do.
sorry, it froze and kicked me and old day out.
Well, no, it did more than that. It was worse than that. But I was trying to get you guys situated so that you would be able to come back in, and really weird something really weird happened. Craig, if you'll rejoin us over on the Zoom call, we'll let you back in. Hopefully that won't happen, guys. I will let you know that if it does happen again, I'm not going to continue with the show tonight. It'll just have to be a quick show. John, I forgot where we were when we were talking just a little while ago before that.
I had started to ask Ed about shorts. I was making this point that, like,
yes.
for me, this is just me personally. The kind of shorts that I like are the funny ones, the political ones, like the ones that make me go, or laugh out loud. I find all the ones that I did that were trying to teach something, I hated them. They never got any views for me. And I wonder, like, as a group, if we're finding out I don't know. I'm just trying to put it out there, like, because I think their shorts are cool and they're a good tool and they tell you you're supposed to do them, but I never know what to do. That would be interesting. So I don't know. Is it ranty stuff or whatever?
I'm doing a series called Craps for Noobs, and so it's just taking one piece of the table and talking about it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's going to go on for several days, but so if you get a lot of dings from me, I'm putting out a lot of shorts. But that's an experiment.
What's funny?
I wanted
What's
to see
really
what would
funny,
happen.
Ed, is like you scroll through your shorts, right? And I'm getting like Dave Chappelle, whatever, Tucker Carlson, and then you show up for a minute, and then it's more comedians, and then I get Ben Shapiro. It's just weird. I'm getting all these, like, it's just so intermixed, and it's I don't know how the algorithm works, how they get you what you want to see, but it's like
anything you watch for more than like a few seconds. If you stay on a short for seconds, it automatically.
The shorts
puts you
haven't
in
changed.
to another one.
Yeah, the short tunnel hasn't changed my feed though. It's like if you watch something on your main YouTube feed, and then all of a sudden your whole YouTube feed becomes about whatever, aliens or some shit like that. Where on the shorts you can watch all the politics you want, but your main feed still stays craps. At least for me, they don't really affect it, but the shorts rabbit hole can be weird. You can burn 2 hours in those damn things, but I struggle so much with what to do for a freaking short that's interesting. I've kind of stopped doing it.
First up, you could do one on the chin.
So anyway, we probably ought to talk about craps or something, since it's just
maybe.
Craps,
Yeah, maybe.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm just about ready to set back up with the questions.
Do you have all the questions, Jeff? I copied a whole bunch for you. Do you want them in text, or do you have them all?
I have 4, John. Is what I have.
Okay, let me send you it.
Yeah, I have Craps
send you a
Master
text.
Journey, Novato, Fritz in Wisconsin, but I'm looking for them. Did they use
I just
something else
sent you.
other than a queue?
Yeah, well, there was cues, but it was while you were gone, so I copied a bunch of them. So I just sent you a text.
Okay.
Well, while Jeff's getting that orientated, I want to just address John for just a second.
Uh-oh.
No, it's all good. On the 678, you were doing your 678 this week for the paycheck. And you were doing different styles. You did Greg's, the 555. You did Jeremy, Wager Me This. And then you did your own. And then you did something, I think you did something else as well. It was like a hodgepodge of different stuff. So what did you end up, so my question is what did you end up really liking? And what did, and what did you really discover, into that type of vein? So I'm just curious, what type of style did you really end up liking, and what did you really think that finally worked, if anything worked?
They all worked. So I've only lost once. I'm like 9-1. I actually won again last night. So they all work. The thing is, it's a time thing, right? I'm always scared of time at the table. Like too much time is you're gonna get it, right? The 555 way, which is basically $100 don't, and I'm doing like a 42-6, 42-8, and either one of them hits, I press it up. Either one of them hits again, I'm back down and across, right? There's been times where the one day last week I rolled like 28 times and had 1-8, no sixes in all 28 rolls, and you sit there like a dumbass waiting for it to happen, but that's the strategy, right? And so I went, that's kind of dumb because I wasted a roll or wasted a good shooter, and you think the point of that strategy is to be safe with the don't, waiting for a good shooter. But if that shooter is not on those two numbers that you got, it's a complete waste of time, right? So then I went out and spread across. I'm like, okay, I'll let the point be naked. I'll go across lighter and half press or full press to get to greens or whatever. That worked out really good 2 days in a row. Then I had one really rough session where I never hit. I just PSOing the whole time. The thing with the 6, 7, 8 is that you grind for so long. And what I found with it is if you don't get a good roll, the don't pass chews you up. And so I found myself losing $100, $100 on the don't pass, catching a good roll, winning 500 and getting really nowhere. That's what I found with it. So it's a good way to kind of stay alive. But boy, oh boy, if that don't gets picked, by the time the good roll happens, you might be down half your bankroll, and the good roll doesn't help you. It gets you back to even. That's what I felt with it. So I've been getting paychecks out of it. And a couple of days it's been easy. A couple of days it's been some work. But that's what I feel. It's like typical, you want to get to even as fast as you can, make the don't not the thing, kind of pick the right side. But boy, oh boy, that's what it feels like to me, is I feel like I'm just treading water and sometimes losing a lot of ground when that don't gets picked. But I think I like the across way better. What I've landed on now is a 150 don't, 42, 6, and 8, and 25 on the 5 and 9, and a $10 4 and 10. And I've got something happening on all the numbers, and I can kind of work through it that way. That way, I'm not waiting around for just one or two things to happen. And if something else goes, right, when you press what's coming, then I can take care of a 5 or a 9 if I happen to be rolling those things. And they end up picking up the load for the ones that weren't hitting, and I can regress down that way. So I don't know. I don't love it, but I don't hate it yet either. I've just been rolling so good the last 2 weeks that I'm picking my don'ts off too much. Mm-hmm. And, I'm turning into a good shooter, I think, because that's what good shooters do, I guess, right? And it's like I'm hurting myself more than I should be on some of these rolls. So,
well, the 6, 7, 8 is not intended for a good shooter. It's intended for randoms. You get the dice.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And the more I play it, I feel like, yeah. Oh, we lost the screen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
So it's also
I'm setting
it's very similar to the one hit can't miss as well. It's like a cut. It's a very close cut. It's a very close cousin. It's a very close cousin, and so I was sitting there. I wanted to message you, but I haven't. But you've been busy with stuff like that, so I figured this would be a good time to talk about it. I've been contemplating, doing. I know that you guys there's places that don't allow the do we don't. Okay, but if it is allowed, I'm sitting here thinking, because I feel your frustration, and I'm thinking, there's got to be a way around it, and I'm thinking the do we don't will make that a strong case for you to you don't have to worry about being picked off in front, and then establish your point, and then you can still do whatever you want. And if you don't like the point, if you're afraid, quote unquote, afraid of the 6 or 8, when it becomes your point as a don't player, then you don't have to do that. You can
Right.
still pick to if you wish to lay against the 10. That's your option, and still have your a cross or iron cross or whatever you want. I mean, minus the lay. So that's what I've been thinking and contemplating on, and I wanted to bring that, and I wanted to see what all you gentlemen think. But I think that was a good twist on on something that we could do to enhance the 6, 7, and 8. And I had thought of some other unique twists as well, but I just wanted to throw that out there and get you all's thoughts on it.
Sure. Well, the thing is, I don't fear the 6 or 8 as a point in the 6, 7, 8. I get mad because it's a waste of a 6 or an 8. Like, that's the thing. It's like, damn it, now I can't capitalize on that number, and I get angry when I have to fight it because I'm like, shoot now. So the better way probably is a smaller don't with massive odds, and as soon as I get my money back, I'm off. Right now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to win on the right side $200, cover the right side bets and cover that don't. So I feel like I'm playing free and clear. If the don't was a quarter with 150 in odds, I can win $25, cover that don't pass, pull the odds off, and it does its job for like a few rolls, and then I'm out of it. I really want that strategy to be a springboard into the right side and just give me some safety for a couple of rolls. That's the point of it. Jacob plays it a little longer than that. He's got that don't pass going for a lot longer, and he looks at it as the don't wins and the right side wins. I haven't been able to make that rhythm happen yet. I've been getting picked, and I'm not getting both to work. And again, I think it's a function of me getting better, potentially, right? And just picking myself. That's just what happens. So it's been frustrating. It's been a frustrating 9-1 is what the strategy is, but it's not. I haven't been enjoying it as much as I'd like to.
Well,
I know that I should be having more fun with it for sure.
Yeah, I figure with a do and don't that you can go at it higher, and then that way you can set your odds to however you wish. On the don't side, and so and then you can fluctuate however you want with the don'ts, and you can wipe them all down, leave the do don't, sell a wash whenever you're content with whatever having whatever the light side is, and just leave it light side. There's you have 1,000 options, for whatever you want. But and I'm just saying, that way you're not being picked off immediately on the come out. The only thing that's going to get you to 12, and that's rare. I mean, that's quote unquote rare, or should be rare. So I would not be opposed to having $100 do and $100 don't, and just let it, and if the 12 gets you, Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. The other day, last night I was playing this. Last night I had a session where, of course, I didn't go public live, but I won my paycheck. I'm like, okay, let's celebrate round 2. And round 2, I started off and I lost 11 straight don't bets, 11 straight between the point winners and getting or the come out winners and the point. I still won a paycheck because the right side was so strong. It overcame 11 losses, right? Which is good. Like, go me, but. God, how I was so angry the whole time. I'm like, and I just wanted to stop. I'm like, this is no fun at all. I'm making great money, but God, what a nightmare, And if I would have back-routed the thing like Waylon suggests, I would have been fine. But when I mechanically play these things, I don't let myself do that. So you're just kind of sitting there watching black chips just go away, and you're like, geez, Lou. There's nothing more frustrating than that. And I get it's fake money, but still.
Yeah. What do you think, Ed? What's your 2 cents?
Probably more like 1 cent because when I play the one hit can't miss, I'm waiting on the dice, and so I mean you'll catch a roll every once in a while, and then you'll find somebody who like John talked about a minute ago. They'll hammer outside numbers before they 7 out, and you've lost money. Never hit your 6 and 8. I used to play it the first hit. I just came down, That way I locked up a win and just sat there till the next shooter. Not a big win, but a win. You know, if it, and when I say down is if they hit, if let's just say 8 was the point, and I had a quarter and $30 on the 8, then, you know, I'd just pull them down. I used to do that. Now I don't. I just leave them up there and see if I can get one more hit. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. I don't like going back up on the don't the second time, and I don't have a good explanation for it of why. I'm just it's probably a bad move. But at the same time, when I'm playing the don'ts and the 6 or 8 is set as a point, I automatically play the one hit can't miss on it every time. I just do that. And you'll be surprised at times they'll be hammering the 6 when the 8's the point, and you'll be up to, you know, you'll have collected a couple times, and you'll say, okay, go to 42, and then you go, well, they keep hitting it, and then you're like, how many times do I want to collect $50? And never fails. By the time I press them on up to 90 or something, they 7 out. But I've made good money. You just, and I've played one hit can't miss before, and after I get them paid for, like put in a field number, cover the 5 as soon as I get a field hit, and I've ended up with, you know, $250 on a 4 before that roll was over before. So, you know, spreading out's nothing wrong with it once you got your nut covered.
Right.
Yeah. That's funny. Our friend Darksider always told me, don't get beat twice by the same shooter. And I'm like, but I'm always a shooter. Like, it's always me, right? I mean, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, on a regular table, I get that. I get what he's saying, but I can't do it to myself. So,
Craig,
I was playing that the other.
Well, John, I'm
the
going
other night at Encore, and literally the guy came out 4 7s in a row, and I'm like, you know, you're on the don't, and you know, what do you do there? I just stopped playing the don't until I got to the next shooter. I still played the 6 and 8, made some money on the 6 and 8, but you know, getting knocked off 4 times on the don't right out of the bat, you know.
Right.
What you think?
Well, I've
Craig.
been steady. I've been staying behind the controls. Craig, do you have any comments on what we're talking about with the 6, 7, 8 one hit can't miss?
I actually play it on myself when I first get to a casino to see how I'm shooting that day. I actually like it. I try to, if I can get the 6 and 8 pressed up. Sometimes I won't even, because of how I want to shoot that day, I won't even spread out to the 5 and 9 if I make money on the 6 and 8. I'll just regress the 6 and 8, and I have turned them off before, or I'll just take them down to table minimum and wait it out, and be fine with not making any more than 21 every time it hits. If I've already made, you know, if I'm able to make $100 to $200 on a 6, 7, 8, because I do like to go 18 to 42 to 90, and if I can get a hit for 90, then I'll take them both down to 18, and then I'm fine with waiting it out. See how, because I don't trust myself when I first get to a casino. I need to know if I need to warm up. Especially when you're in Vegas, because you're bouncing around from casino to casino, and you're bouncing around from hard to bouncy to bouncy to hard. You know, that's me.
My favorite play since COVID. I mean, right after COVID, everything was $25 minimum, so it was $25 don't pass, $30 6 and 8. But now that the minimums have come down to 15, you can do a $19 don't pass, or I like to go ahead and do a $25 don't pass and place the 6 and 8 for 24. That way,
I've done your thing, Ed. I've done your thing where
Yeah.
you did the 19 don't pass, and then you place the point once it comes. It's a grind as hell, but I was at the table for 2 hours, and I turned 100 into like $72, and I was totally fine with it because I was at the table for 2 hours, and it was just a grind. And people were like, "Are you sure you want to keep placing the point?" I'm like, "Yeah," because what happened was after a while, I started playing dollar bets on hopping the reds and the horns on come out rolls. And so every once in a while I was winning 32, you know, so that means I won 7. or I was winning 8, that way. Or if I pressed up, hop in the reds, I won a little bit more. So, you can win that way as like a little bit of extra. So you're not always just winning by winning $1 or $2.
Yeah, that's why I like the 24, and then just and I mean a $25 don't pass, and then just placing the 6 and 8 for 24, because then that gives me a little more flexibility on what I want to do if one of them catches run quicker. I can go to 42 quick if I want to. If I get 2 hits, next hit, I may just go ahead and go take it to 42 and see what happens. I'm still putting a little money in the rack. And, you get those hits. You get a couple of those $50 thrown at you a couple times, and you either throw your hands up or pull your bets down, one of the two.
I mean, but like you also said, you play it temporarily, and I'll
Yeah,
do
it's
6,
just
7, 8, and
you're
if I
just
can
sitting there.
Yeah, if I can get the 6 and 8 up to 42 and then get a hit, or maybe 2 hits most, then I'll take it to 66 inside, and play that way, and see if I can grab a 5 and 9.
Yeah. You're just buying time. I'm just always buying time. I'm looking for the dice to come back. So it's just something to do.
I kind of like the way that John was
Low
doing it
risk
the other
play.
day, where he was putting 30 on the 6 and 8 and going right to 48 and then down and across. That worked great for me the other night. I ended up walking out with over $300. So, in about 2
It works
hours.
good if they're hitting, right? If they're hitting, that works great. The other day, that was when I had the
If
same thing,
0.7,
right?
forget it.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I had that 20-something roller. I never hit one. I hit 1-8 the whole time. I'm like, can I get one of these things to hit? That's so frustrating. It just like you just want to, break something. But that's what craps is, a humbling game, isn't it? That's the thing. You can have the best strategy in the world, and the dice don't give a shit.
Yep, that is true. All right, guys, let's move on from the 6, 7, 8. We've had several good questions that's come in since the show started. I'm going to go. I guess we should probably transition into one that dealt with the paycheck, John, and maybe you can answer this question real quick. I think you may have in chat, but for everybody that's not paying attention there, this was the question that came up from the gaming pit. And is that Buckeye? Is that what he's changed his
That's
name
Buckeye
to?
Slim, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. So he said, when you do your paycheck shows, are you simulating winning a paycheck or winning a paycheck in a specific amount of time?
Yeah, it's just go till we make it or not. That's a stop loss zero show. I just go till I make 10% or lose it all.
Yep,
Whether it's one, like Friday was one roll. I remember I came out with an ace deuce, won $150, and like that was the entire show. And other days I go 200 plus rolls trying to get it,
Right. I did have something that just popped up here. To Biff, I hope everybody is safe over there where Hurricane Hillary has made landfall on the West Coast. Don't worry, from the late show, we've been talking 6, 7, 8, and Jeff's been having problems, but welcome to the show. Let's move on to another question that was asked almost 30 minutes ago. Let's go to this question here. Question around craps mindsets. How do you handle betting fear? Is it a deep bankroll? Is it, I think that's breadth, I can't read that word, of knowledge.
Breadth of knowledge.
Yeah, breadth of knowledge and experience. I think that kind of goes with another question that Andy asked, is this one right here. We'll put them two together. When did the doggone table jitters stop? So we can kind of talk about that. We've got a good panel here with us tonight, some inexperienced and some experienced craps players. The jitters and bankrolls, and what was the other question that Novato asked? Let me put that one back up here so I can read that one again. Question about the craps mindset. How do you handle betting fear? I had betting fear for the longest time, and working with several people over the past couple of years. If I was making 50 for one, I never advanced above that. Now I'm to racking the black, and I have fears, and now I'm up to the 210 or 240 level, and it scares me. So I don't know whether it's experience. Bankroll does have something to do with it, or it's just your comfortability, and I think it comes with time. I don't know what more. What does anybody else have to say?
I'll jump in. I don't have it's not as much fear, but it's anxiety, and I've talked about it before with the Learning Craps series that I did. just walking up to the table is can be intimidating. I seem to feel good when I walk through the casino doors, but as soon as I see the craps table, the anxiety starts, and sometimes it makes me hesitant on buying in. But once I buy in, I tend to calm down. Once I've seen a couple of shooters throw, but even when I first pick up the dice, it's kind of a and then toss, and right when you release the dice whether it was a good toss or not. So I can kind of tell in the beginning if, all
Come
right,
on,
I
Craig. You
still
pick
have
on
this
me all the
anxiety that I'm
time.
fighting.
You bust on me all
What's
the
that?
time when I release the dice, and I say, "Oh, damn it, that's a bad roll."
Right, right. But yeah, that's me.
All right, let's go to Ed. Then we'll go to Dylan. They're probably the most experienced amongst the us that are here. Maybe Randy has more experience as well. I'm not sure exactly what experience he has. But Ed, how do you answer those questions about betting fears and when does the doggone table jitters go away?
It ends up being an experience and more time at the table, I suppose, as far as the jitters are concerned. I mean, that's what led me to drinking. But, you know, I can remember, I first couple times I'd reach out, I looked like, I had a real nervous issue, I mean, I can remember those days, but now, I don't even think about that. And then as far as, I think experience, practicing, even your betting, how you want to bet, and just memorize it. I mean, that goes back to my practice like you play thing. Whether it's a skill 66 move or whether it's one of them stupid press moves I do, it's you've just got it ingrained into you and you just do it. Because if I'm shooting, and that's how I answer these questions is as a shooter. I don't even want to think about what I've got on there. Sometimes I lose track and I just kind of bend over and ask the dealer, what have I got on there? And if they go, you got 180 on there, I go, did I collect last time? And she says, yeah. I say, okay, here's $30, go to 420. And I'm off. I'm back into it. So it don't matter. You've got to work your way up to it. And quite frankly, you've got to find somebody that can teach you to bet in a way that you're comfortable, I think, as well. I think spending time at a table with a coach or with a good friend who knows who bets maybe a little more aggressively than you do or bets differently than you do. Because I can remember one hand I had way years ago, it was an hour and 20 minutes long, and I made $7,000-8,000. And some guy asked me how much I made, and he said, I need to teach you how to bet. And I was like, I was real happy. I was real happy collecting those black chips on all those hits, but I should have been collecting purple chips and banana chips and gray chips. I mean, because it was a great hand. So he was right, and that's what got me to start thinking more about how can I change my betting style and to be set up to catch a hand that's going to pay well.
Yep. All right, Dylan, your thoughts?
Well, to me, yeah, the fear factor and the jitters, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to develop. You can't let fear grip you, but you do have to respect the table and the dice, because if you don't, then it'll eat you alive. So there's a healthy respect for that you'll come to know, and that's a good thing, And so with proper betting, learning all of the trade that you need to master, all the different disciplines. The bankroll helps. You have to have a plan. You have to have a good game plan. You have to be able to execute it. You have to know your several different strategies that you can employ, and it does have to become second nature, because you just can't be a deer in a headlights, because if you do, then you're dead. So you've got to know that's part of knowledge. You have to really know what you're doing, and you have to have a goal, and you have to have a game plan. and so and be able to implement that. So, but fear and jitters are just fine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, and that becomes a healthy respect for the table, and that's my 2 cents for that.
All right, before I head to Randy, and over to John. I'm going to put this up here. It looks like Novaldo answered. He thanks to Buckeye or Gaming Pit. He said, "I know it's all in my head. It's just money. I can't make more money, but that voice in my head that second guesses myself and causes me paralysis." Ed, when you said that once you asked the dealer. What was I at that I get paid? Drop 30, go to 420. Both Craig and I at the same time, we kind of chuckled together because you make it sound so easy. But Craig, agree with me before I go to Randy for his opinion. When Ed said drop 30, go to 420, isn't that hard to do?
It is, but in addition, I'm gonna tell you from when you and I played in Atlantic City, it wasn't a fear of betting or anything, but when I had that long roll that you were at the table with me, I was paying too much attention to the roll and I wasn't paying enough attention to the betting. And that's the part of that buys into like what some of what Novato is saying is, you have to think of the whole game. It's a lot. And so when you have anxiety, I was able to concentrate on just one aspect, which was the shooting, and I shot well. But we all both know I didn't make much on that.
Correct.
So, best advice I got from you was, hey, I asked you, what roll am I on? You said, shut up.
Yeah, shut up and roll. That's what I said. Because I track the rolls. But one of the things that we have in our AC group is there's a guy. He's a great shooter, but he doesn't bet while he's shooting. And if he rolls out a 20 or 30 roller, which he's good for during the session, afterwards when we regroup and have our nightcap or whatever, we always say, "Man, somebody should bet for me. Let me just hand you my money, just double whatever you're doing and bet for me as well." But hindsight sometimes doesn't help in this game at all. Randy, what do you think about the jitters?
Oh, I have plenty of those, but listening to you guys and following your bankroll, practicing your betting seems to help a lot. I mean, for years I was losing every time I went. Started watching you guys, started watching the betting, starting watching how you bet, how you get into profit. Checking your bankroll. Once you get to your bankroll, checking what you have for the next roll, and then letting it loose. Half pressing and taking back half, and pressing again and taking back half, knowing that you're already up, and the only way you can go is up. So I get very nervous, betting and shooting, especially shooting and betting. It's hard to, like he says, it's hard to do at the same time and concentrate on what you're doing. I am getting better at it. I haven't been throwing for a lot of years, and I am getting better at it, and that seems to help a little. But even on other rollers, when you catch somebody rolling good, you got to know when you made your money back, and now you can let loose and press your bets and get them up there high enough and collect, and also drop down every once in a while to take the money that you made up there and put it in your rack and still have some out there. So,
Nevada says
it's always jitters.
Yeah, it's what he says. He says the point is there's always that voice that's there. It's just like don't let it consume you. And I had that same issue. From a recreational player to a serious craps player pre-COVID, the playing for fun, $5 table with odds, without odds, across for 30, 32 or whatever, that's fun. But when you stick 160 out there and all of a sudden that 160 is above 320, or you have, like Ed says, you drop $30 and go to 420, it still affects me, but I think the key to it is knowing your bankroll, knowing the bankroll management, and whether you're on top of that hand or not. Because when Ed said drop 30, he already collected 210, so he's probably got that whole the whole series of bets covered. So it comes with experience, I think, as well. So, John, you were the last person. You got that great bankroll management video out, too, from a year ago.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Well, I want to get to what Cajun said, which is when do the damn jitters go away? And my answer is they never really do. Like I've done, 1,100 live shows now, and I still am shitting my pants before every one of them. Like every day, I'm like, I'm a shaken mess before my shows every single morning, right? It never goes away. And when I go to the table, every time before I pull the money out of my pocket, I'm jittery. I get that agita, right? It's like I put this in chat. It's like remember when you were at school and you got called out to a fight, and even if it was the nerdiest, skinniest kid in the school, you still fight, right? And you better be nervous because you're going to get pounded if you're not nervous. I think the nerves give you focus. It's a tool, right? There's somebody else in chat said, great quarterbacks throw up before a lot of games, but once you get the first hit in a football game, the nerves all go away. I look at it like that. Like I don't want to, and I have a decent sized gambling bankroll that I could light on fire and it wouldn't matter. And I still, when I bring $1,000 to the table, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, why am I still have that tension, that anxiety that you're all talking about. 30 years into this game, still have it. Now, the minute I place a bet and we're in the rhythm, that all goes away, and I trust and I rely on my knowledge, my bet schedule. I know what I'm doing, and it goes away. But walking up, I think I get the heartbeats every single time. There's no question that I get that, and I think it's a natural. Your body's doing what it's supposed to do. It's protecting you, and I think you have to lean into some of that. If you don't have that, I'd actually be more worried if I was just like Mr. Who's got the biggest schlong walking up to the table and just here I go. That would be dangerous to me, right? That's not a good way to approach the game. I think nerves are good. And like I said, I fear my wife. I fear the Lord. I fear a lot of things, not because I'm scared of them, but because, like Dylan said, I respect the crap out of them, right? And it's a healthy respect. And I think that's what you got when you go in. Jitters are good. Jitters are not something to go to be worried about going away. I think we can all say we have them, especially when you're at a table full of people that you've never met before that may know you, like at meetups and stuff like that. For us providers, there's an extra degree of nervousness that goes along with that. And if you didn't have that, there was something wrong with you, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
When you get into the stress-free zone, there's different phases, and once you know that you're in the stress-free zone where you've made your money back and you're in the profit, and that's what I mean by that. If you didn't know, then your mind can take a semi step back because it's all paid for and you're playing in with profit. So that should ease your jitters, a little bit, and but you still have to have that plan and still half press, or whatever, and not give it all back. You still have to be wise with what you're doing, but you can, you can become more comfortable with what you're doing, or it allows you to do that. So I just wanted to, put that in there, is that there is a stress-free zone that you can step into and that you can earn, but you do have to earn that right. That the free jitters the jitters are good for you because you haven't made your profit yet. You haven't gotten to that point yet. So it's best to be cautious and to be wary, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And so until you earn that, and I just want to, there is a stress-free zone where you can take a step back and breathe and know that you've done a good job and be happy and content with what you've done and still attack in a good and safe way.
Right. Well, here's a point. Arnell has a good point. You just have to believe in yourself, and that comes with the experience and practice. Whether you practice at home or you're actually playing at a different table level, it's there. Both of Novato and Cajun has thanked us for the answers here on the panel, and including what happened in chat. I displayed some of them, but here's a good. Let's change subject just 1 second. Here's a good point. I have to ask the same question too. It comes from Craps Master Journey. That's Joe over there. Is Dylan feeling all right? He has talked more this show than almost all of them combined. I love hearing his opinions.
Dylan must have took a nap before the show instead
Somebody
of during
said
the show.
earlier he was dropping gems.
Yeah.
So.
Dylan, are you drinking any of the brown water tonight? Because that was one of the other questions. Somebody asked what the brown water flavor of the brown water was tonight, and I thought I had pinned it here somewhere.
I'm not drinking brown water. I don't drink alcohol. Period. But I'm drinking flavored water is what it is. But you know, it's doing me good, so it's all good.
I just thought he actually said that. I guess he said that like almost 15 minutes ago, and I was saving it. I was saving it at the end of the show, but you just came out with that your second or third opinion tonight in the first hour, and I just thought that was perfect timing when that was out there. Guys, if you want to join the show, you can see we've got Randy and Craig. You can join the show very simple. It's the pinned chat Zoom link. You can come on if you'd like to. You don't have to show your face. You can turn that off. We won't in there. If you come into the show, I put a name up there that I recognize, and I can let you in, because occasionally we get some people that don't have the right mindset to be with us here. I don't want to say any more than that. But look, no brown water for Dylan. Buckeye says, what? I don't drink either. Like that. I mean, like John's sipping something. I know Ed's sipping something. I can't speak for Craig, but the only time I drink is typically when I'm out with somebody. And I always had a nightcap with Ed. Here lately with the AC group, a couple of us have gone and had a drink, but I don't typically drink. Let's move on to the next question. I'm going to go back here for a second. Buckeye asked a question here, Ed. It's a two-part question. It's going to go to you. At Ed Robinson, when you have a moment when your shot is off, no matter what you do you keep shooting or just call the day a wash and head back to the shooters? He follows that up with this part, or do you just leave and come back another day? Ed, we've covered this quite a bit on our Thursday night show, but for the folks that aren't there, to the 65 viewers that are watching, can you answer the question? I'll display the first one.
I walk away. If I can't get dialed in, I'm done. I'm done for at least a little while. You know, I can think back on many occasions where I didn't walk away enough, or I kept going back too soon. There's all those things that you do, but some of those days I was awful glad I went back eventually. But I mean, in fact, that role I was talking about earlier, that happened after a terrible morning, and I had just quit and took about a 2-hour break. You know, you just don't ever. I mean, if you're off and you know you're off, call it, because it's going to happen.
All right.
And if you're lone wolfing it like I do a lot, you're just going to go, you know, take a nap, go get a pizza, go get a hamburger, go get a steak and lobster, whatever. You know, get away from it.
Yep. So anybody with a question, capital Q. If you have a comment for somebody that's on the panel or somebody in chat, put their initials in capital letters. Let's go back 45 minutes ago with this question, which kind of goes along in one of Ed's, I guess, expertise areas, and that comes from Wisco 330. Question: How best do you work on DI so you aren't practicing wrong and learning bad habits? I am the wrong person to ask that. I have many bad habits. I continue to work on it. I can't answer it, so let's see what the panel says. Randy, before I go to Ed, Randy, do you set the dice, and how long have you been setting? And are you any good at it?
Sometimes. Yeah, I do set my dice every time, and I practice probably 3 or 4 times a week, but not as much as I should. I feel, you know, almost the same way as John. You get better at throwing, but if you can't sit there and call your numbers, it just don't work. You're trying to eliminate as much randomness as you can.
Right. Right. All right. Before I'm saving Ed for last, John, I've seen you at the table. I've seen you stack them. I've seen you throw the chopper. I've seen you roll out 15 plus. And AC April a year ago, not this April, you hit a piece of the tall or small, and you didn't even realize you hit it until they started paying us out.
That's true. So I practice DI I coach baseball. I coach hockey, right? And I use a technique when I coach kids called backward shaping, where I work them from the end of the shot. So I say, let me see you hit a home run, and let me see your full swing. And I work backwards from there to here. And we just work on the contact point. And then I work on getting to contact. Then I work on the load. And then I work on the grip. And I do the same thing with my dice. When I see something wrong, I start at the release. How did my release go south? And then I say, well, it's because my arm was in the wrong spot, or I leaned wrong, or whatever. Like, that's how I do. I work from the end backwards, and I fix from there versus trying to fix it off from the beginning side. That's worked for me in teaching shooting in hockey and hitting in baseball, as well as throwing. So I approach it that way, and I mechanically work backwards. I backward shaped athletes my entire life, and I'm looking at this from the same lens. The difference is, and Ed will back me up on this, I've never had a teacher, so I'm backward shaping from knowledge I've watched by slowing down YouTube videos, right? Because the chopper is not in any book, right? There's no way to learn that other than watching Cage or somebody else throw it and trying to zoom in a little bit. So I'm backward shaping like on a guess. But I think for the other folks, probably working. Anyway, that's my point. I work backwards.
All right.
Which works for me. So,
Dylan, you set dice and you throw dice. What's your opinion?
Well, I really don't.
Wow.
So what is the question? What is the question?
I just cleared it too. Let me see if I have it back up. Here it is. I'll put it back up here. I thought I just cleared it. How best to work on DI so that you aren't practicing wrong or learning bad habits? We could skip you and go right straight to Ed. I'm saving him for last.
I really don't have a good answer for that, honestly. I know what I'm trying to look for when I'm shooting, and I have a goal in mind. I know what the dice should be doing when I'm setting my dice and tossing them and releasing them, having the landing zone. I know what I'm doing, so I know what I'm looking for. So if it's not going the way I want it, then I have to make some adjustments. And if the adjustments aren't working as well, then you have to. That's part of the knowledge of it and the practice of it, and the experience. And so, if you don't see what you want to see, then that's a red flag, and you've got to go. You can't just if you know how to critique it and to quarter turn your dice or what. There's certain ways to correct some of the stuff that's happening, but if that's not working, then you better go, because that's a recipe for disaster, or it can be very quickly. So you got to be careful.
All right, Ed, I'm going to go to you because I have a follow-up question after that one that you're going to lead off with, be the first one to talk about it. So I'll put the question back up for you in case you didn't see it. Is how do you best work on your trying to be a DI, whatever you want to call it, control shooter, so you aren't practicing wrong and learning bad habits?
Well, if you're not going to take a class from somebody, and then even if you do, they're not going to be over your shoulder at home. So, that's still the same problem, right? Take your laptop and put it on the end of the table and turn it on record and throw. And then go watch yourself and see what you did wrong. Were the dice doing what you wanted them to do? Can you even hit your landing zone? Put a camera on a piece of paper down there and see how many times you can hit it out of 72. Put a camera on it. That's the easiest way to look at yourself. If you don't have somebody else to stand over your shoulder and look at your grip and do all these things that we do as coaches, then record yourself. I did that for years. I was recording myself for 3 or 4 years before I even thought about starting a YouTube channel. And that's why I decided I'd do it. Well, hell, I'm already recording myself. I might as well throw it out there. So I would tell Wisco, phones are small and they're great and handy, but if you've got something bigger like a laptop or something, or a webcam for your desktop or whatever, use that so you can get a good shot. You can look at it on a bigger screen, not just your cell phone. But practice hitting your spot. Are you hitting your spot? Are they landing flat? Record that stuff. Are they flying this way in the air, or are they flying kind of in a barrel? One die higher than the other. That may be your common flaw. I have that flaw. It's a very typical flaw, and I have it, and I've just adapted to my flaw. You play, you slice at that point.
Yep. Well, what I do in my shows, a lot of people jump on me about it because as soon as I let go of the dice, that's a bad roll, and it may wind up being a 7, but it may not wind up being a 7. What I mean by bad roll was, like you said, Ed, one dice is higher, they split. I know I push with my thumb. They're not going to land flat. I mean, there's a whole slew of things, and I think, Ed, you said it last Thursday night. You should pick a set and just roll that set until you're comfortable with that set before you start adjusting it and or making using another set, whether it be a V set or a hardware set, whatever it is. But pick your set and practice the heck out of that before you move on.
Yeah, I mean, everybody starts with something.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Donald.
There's one trick that I taught my brother for hitting your landing zone. Get a napkin and put it on the table, and that's what you're aiming for, and aim for that damn napkin, and hit it and hit it and hit it and hit it and practice. Now it doesn't matter what the results are. You're trying to hit that damn napkin. So that's one, and the napkin. You'd be surprised. You'll be surprised at aiming for that sucker. What you'll hit and what you'll miss. It's good fun.
All right, we're going to move on to the next question that kind of preceded that. It almost an hour ago from Ian, and that is: has anybody seen and their thoughts about the new video that Howard put out about the magic dice toss? Ed, I think you and I talked about this on the phone. We'll start with you, then we'll go around the panel. I found it curious because as he released the dice, I'm going to reach into my camera. It's like he was shaking your hand. You never saw the dice land. You just heard the call, but it's still, it was an amazing roll, shot, whatever you want to call it. Ed, what do you think?
Oh, Lord. He's been teaching that thing for years and years and years. And I've seen it. I've tossed it. I've seen it. I've seen him toss it in a casino. I mean, it's an off-axis toss. I mean, that's what and it's designed to be that with the same mechanics. I'm trying to be polite. It's a good way. Howard has several tosses that are quick fixes and are easy fixes for people to learn so that they can go out and play with some confidence, but they're not consistent players. Probably they're 3 or 4 times a year vacationers, sometimes that kind of thing, and they don't have time to practice, whatnot. So those are great tosses to learn. Hell, I'll do them if I can't hit. If I can't throw my shot, I'll try one of those things. But I've seen it so long it didn't faze me one bit. I knew exactly what it was going to be.
All right, let's go down to Craig and ask Craig. Did you see the video? First of all, Craig.
Yeah, I actually have watched the video, and I talked to Ian, and I talked back and forth on it. So this is the Ian. Yes, the first time out, I threw 17 rolls without a 7. I think from what the video, he uses an all 7 set. And I wasn't really sure how he's holding it. I know he had his index finger out in front, so I knew that the index finger wasn't holding the dice at all. But just doing it, trying to do it on a 45-degree angle. My dominant number was 9. I hit 6 nines out of 17, but that was just the first pass. You know, I could tell you from straight out, and I was more so lined up with the box numbers because I had a lot of crap in front of me. My table's 10 feet, but I still have like a foot and a half outside of the table that I have to bend over and still do this. But I can tell you from the 17 rolls, a third of them went this way, a third of them went that way, and a third of them went that way.
Yeah,
You know, it wasn't.
I think Ed's trying to show it. Let me
Yeah,
see.
I thought it was like I was holding it like a par toss, but then turning my wrist to where my index finger was pointing out, and then.
Well, that's high as hell. He's just taking it like this.
Now the only thing I didn't do was I didn't hold it like a Euro grip.
That's the. Well,
I had a hard time
that's
looking
it right
at the
there.
video. I had a hard time seeing his video of how he was gripping.
Well, he did that on purpose. He wants you to take a class.
All right, let's not go there.
I guess I was taking.
Well, I
magic,
mean,
magic
I knew
out
that
of
was
it.
I mean, he ain't gonna. They didn't zoom in on it.
Right.
I mean, they didn't zoom in on it to say, "Here's how you hold the dice." I mean, you know, then he's, you know, that's just marketing. That's all it is.
I zoomed in. I tried to find out.
Yeah. So let's go to Randy.
Yeah, but
Randy,
he didn't.
did you see the
No,
video?
I haven't seen the video.
Okay. All right. I know, John, you've seen it, so let's see what Dylan has to say since he's so talkative and wide awake tonight. Dylan, have you seen the video?
I have not seen the video. Sorry.
All right, John, I know you saw it.
I'm with Ed. I mean, the thing about Howard, he's got so many freaking shots, right? And it's like, enough is enough. Like, find your way. To me, Howard's got some interesting stuff, and I like that kind of shot. If I'm stuck at the end, I have a thing I can try. That's how I look at that. But it's honestly, I don't put any more thought into that than anything else.
Right.
I have my way of throwing. I'm not gonna. There's no magic shot. You got to be comfortable with what you're doing. That's it.
I'm going to put this question up by Darksider, and then I'm going to follow through with it, John. I'm going to circle back to the question that Jeremy or I think Jeremy or no Arnell asked it. So this is on the same type of subject here, and I'll read this because it's real long and it's going to be small on the screen. Question to Jeff: What was the past rebuttal that if the DIs were that good, why haven't they mastered throwing and getting sevens and make a fortune on the dark side? There are already 6 of 36 on the dice, and that has been asked and answered before, and our friend Greg from 555s is not with us tonight. I do know that Duracell followed that up, that DI is not about calling your shot and being able to throw a specific shot. And then Waylon also put up there, he was talking to something that Buckeye said, no, you can't avoid the 7. When it comes when you want to, and it doesn't even matter whether or not you're that good at setting the dice. So everything I've learned, and I've not taken a single class, I've just talked to some people that are involved in classes, and you're not trying to hit or, as Brian would say, snipe a number off. You're just trying to avoid that dreaded 7 as long as you want. I think, I don't want to get into the DI talk tonight. We've had it a lot of times, and that question comes up. Typically, for somebody that is a dark side or hybrid player, why don't you just learn to throw the 7s and just be done with it? Because there's more money to be made on the light side if you can extend the roll than there is just making the money on the DP or DCs that you have up.
It's one.
Ask him.
It's
He
one
wants me to
bet.
throw 7s while he's on the don't pass line.
Say that again, Ed. I overtalked you.
Ask him. Tell him I'll be glad to throw 7s while he's on the don't pass line. Start on the come out roll.
Well, I knew that was going to get
See how
that was
long
going
he
to get
stayed.
debate. Yeah, I knew that was going to get debate, but I knew that was going to get some debate.
No, I'm not going to debate it because everybody knows how I feel about it anyway. But I mean, bottom line, to ask that question and to ask if you think you're a DI or not, why the hell would I want to give up the dice on a 7 on purpose? That's the answer.
Yep. Yes. So it is the answer, but I think that I didn't want to spend a lot of time on that. Let's see. I think Alfredo's got a comment about the Howard shot that I'll put up there. Howard is one of the purest shooters out there. Those trick shots can be easy, but will teach you bad habits. They're not meant to primarily grips, except for the par grip. I understand what Alfredo is saying. what Alfredo was saying.
And he's right.
He is right. Yes. Yep. So I know when even on my shows, and I don't claim to be good at the DIs. Every once in a while, I'll roll mid-teen, 20, 30 shot, and here recently I had a whole stream of them, a whole week of them, and now I'm back to being my normal, six roller or less on my live shows. But I'm not trying to hit a number. But there are tricks that you can do to hit a number, and I'm not that good. And I think there's only a very, very, very minute people that are that skilled to be able to do that. And one of them hasn't showed up tonight. I thought he was going to jump into the chat. At least he had texted me, said he was going to try to make the show. So that magic shot, yeah. Even Jacob from Waging Me This has been setting the dice on a series that he's doing. He's got a magic shot there. So
I had seen Jacob shoot that shot. That's a thing of beauty, actually. He makes fun of himself when he does it, but his barrel roll is actually pretty cool when you see it live. Like, that's a neat looking shot, man. I mean, I know what he's saying, but it's cool.
Yeah, it is. All right. So I think we took care of those. Let me go back to Arnell's question for you, John, and then we'll move on from that. I think you've already asked and answered it, but I'll put it up there. So, John, if you want to go ahead and answer the question, you can.
Yeah. So if I ever get consistently good at throwing dice, I would play the ATS on me. I think it's a bad bet when you place it. And my video that I did on it was it's a bad bet if you play it on everybody. That's when it's a bad bet. You over time will get destroyed by that thing. On yourself, if you can hit it, I get it. I get why you would do it, but I wouldn't do it on the whole table ever. I think it's the worst bet in town. As far as crapless, you'll never get me to choose a crapless table unless it's the only choice I got. And again, it's not because I don't think I can't win on it, or that Ed can't win on it, or anybody who can throw can't win on it. I just don't like what it represents. Crapless craps is our version of 6-5 blackjack. That's it. They've removed a part of the game. Heavy teaches it, right? If you're not playing both sides, you're playing only half the game. They took half the game away, and that's I don't want to patronize that game because it represents, not because it's not a winnable game. And I think that's just a thing on principle that I stand on. It's not so much about not being able to throw the 11s or the 12s. It's just about I just disagree with what they're doing, and I don't want to put money on something that I just think that should go. That's the more of that we let them do, the more of that they're going to do. You get 3-0 roulette, same thing. People don't know any better, and I think crapless is the same thing. That's the only reason why I'll never do it.
Right.
So
I did just clear
soapbox off, but that's it. But yes, I would play the ATS if I could shoot. I play the ATS.
I think John froze up on us. There we go.
Shit.
No, you're fine.
No, you're there.
You're fine. Yeah, you're there.
I was going to do my little. I'm not frozen dance anymore. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I think that Jacob has a good point here. What does it matter if you're winning? Who cares whether you're throwing sevens or not? And I guess it all depends on where you stand. A lot of people just want to go and win, and then there are people that want to be able to extend it and have the ability to take a SRR to 8, 9, maybe even a 10. Back-to-back rolls, and that's given us a couple.
What I wrote to Darksider in chat was. What I wrote to Darksider in chat was this, and you can play both sides of this thing, right? Like, I agree with what you and Ed say, which is, I practice DI so I can throw forever and make a ton of money. There's way more money to be made on a great roll on the right side. However, if I could guarantee myself I wasn't going to throw a come out 7 or 11, I'd put $10,000 on the don't pass, set a point, and pop that 7 out and walk out the door. 2 rolls and I'm done. That would be that's what he's saying. Why don't you just do that? Well, if I could do that, I mean, that's a beautiful way to make a paycheck, right? And not worry about the long roll. Just give me a point, get me out of here, and I'll see you tomorrow for coffee, right?
Right. And
I'm not that good, right?
No, it's true. Yeah. And Darksider just said, to counter what Ed said, if you can throw 7s, why wouldn't you just lay the back line and come out and screw the DP? And that's been said before, too. And there was somebody else, I think it was Buckeye, that said
I've done that many times.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this
the fact I've got a video on it somewhere out there.
Yeah. So welcome to El Toro, who just showed up. I'm glad you could make it tonight. Anybody else that would like to join the panel tonight, it's still not too late. You can join the panel. It's just very simply, it's pinned in the chat at the top, the Zoom link, or it's in the description. Come on in. Let me know who you are. We'd be glad to have you. We still got some good questions, guys. If you have a question, put a capital Q. If you have a question for somebody in the chat or on the group, put their initials out there, and we will get to them. So let's move on to. We answered a question that Arnell asked. Let's go back to a question also for you, John. Let's go ahead and get the John questions out of the way, and that is this is from an hour ago. Dave P., do you choose a strategy to play when you go to the casino, or do you pick a strategy to play after you've been at the table? I think that could be asked of anybody. I can answer it very simply, but I'll go last. John, it was asked to you.
Yeah, I have a way that I play on everybody else, which is the horseman. I have a way that I play on myself, which is an inside, up, and spread. That's it. It's very, very simple. The adjustments that I make, if I make adjustments, are in bet sizes, not so much where bets go. So I will adjust myself way down if it's going bad, and I'll hammer it when it's going really good. That's really it. I play 2 or 3 basic ways, and that's it. I don't do a ton of adjusting because I just feel like I'm not Jimmy the Greek.
Yeah,
right? I'm not a prognosticator.
I don't play light-sided strategies. I do have things that I do on the hybrid and the dark side. That's just me. Let's go to Randy. Randy, do you have a way to like the way do you play the same way every way, or do you have different strategies? What do you do?
I usually start out with a hybrid and see what the table looks like and who's throwing, because a lot of the tables I play on, there's just huckers and chuckers. So I usually try to see what's going on before I switch to a certain strategy. On myself, I usually play the light side.
All right, and Craig, while we're over there on the Zoom side.
For the come out, if I'm the one shooting, I'll play the light side, do the pass line. If I'm not the one shooting, I will hop the reds and do a C and E typically, and then go right into just a 6 and 8 on other shooters, and spread out from there.
All right, Dylan.
Well, I am I do dice control or dice influence, whatever you want to call it, and I will do a DP and a lay. My thing is a lay 9, as y'all know, and I practice that religiously, and so and then after the point's established, then I take the lay down and I immediately go to the inside. So and that's my go-to. And that really, and then I can press and then regress, and so it's not I find that's what works for me. Is I want the odds as best I can to put it in my favor. I try to take the most combinations that will work for me, and put that in my favor. So that's what I mean by that.
All right. And I'd like to say hello to Gargoyle, who just showed up. Thanks. I didn't even pay attention that we hit 70. I know we were in the upper 60s, but thank you very much. And hit that like button. Hit the like button. Ed, your comment about strategies at the table. I'm going to sit back.
It ain't going to take long.
I know.
I only got one strategy. You can call it a strategy. The strategy is don't bet on random shooters at the table with any kind of serious money, because that's the biggest thing that kills so many people. Is they'll bet 110 on themselves, and then they'll go 96 across on somebody they've never even seen throw the dice before, and people don't do that. Just don't do that.
Can I ask you a question, Ed?
Yeah.
More and more casinos locally, I haven't seen it in Vegas, but more are making you have action on the table every roll, every person. So if you don't want somebody playing on other people, what kind of action would you recommend if you're at the casino's
table minimum don't pass?
Yep.
Yeah.
Table minimum don't pass. That's not big money. I mean, is it $15 or is it $25 or is it $10? Whatever the table minimum is, it's like John talks about not liking crapless. Well, how I get around crapless is I'll buy the 12 for $35 on everybody around the table, and I don't bet another bet. I got $35 I bet on each shooter, and some of them will hit that damn thing 3 times. I mean, you just don't ever know. It may go all the way around and everybody's hammered the 2 and I'm sitting on the 12, but I don't change.
There you have it. Jacob, you just joined us. Welcome to the show. I don't know if you heard the question we're talking about. Welcome to the show, my friend. The question was, strategies at the table. What do you do? And if anybody that watches your channel, they probably could recite them almost verbatim. But let's hear what you have to say.
Well, mostly I just power press all the way to the top.
If you believe that,
That's probably not true.
That's probably not true. Funny.
No, I just play the same way I always play. I just lessen it.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well,
I played 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, it was a topic earlier in the show. I don't know if you were watching then, but over about an hour and 15 minutes ago, we had a long discussion about the 6, 7, 8 or the any one hit can't miss type of strategy. That we had a real long discussion about that. But welcome to the show. I'm glad you joined us. Hope everything's going well in your world. It's nice to see that we have you, El Toro, Gargoyle, and I think I missed somebody else that I wanted to mention. And we're at over 1,200 chats already. I can't keep track of them all this late in the game, but welcome to the show. Let's see. Do we have another question here that we could hand off to? I'm going to save your question, Arnell. I'm going to come back to it. Let's go to this question here. I don't know that we have talked about this recently. This comes from Jeremy Bennett. Does anyone track their bonus bets like 100 hands to see if they've actually profited or lost money over 100 hands? I'm going to save John for last because I know he's done this. He has the math. But I'll start with Jacob since he came in. I heard on your video you did probably within the past 2 or 3 weeks you were talking about the bonus bet, and on your current series you're doing, you're actually playing the bonus bet and you're setting dice. What do you think about the bonus bet, and have you ever tracked it to see any type of regularity?
So if we're specifically talking about the ATS bet,
Yeah.
I think that if you're going to play it, unlike John, I think if you're going to play it on one person, you might as well play it on everybody because you never know when it's coming. So I feel like if you're only going to play it on one, you're going to miss it most of the time. But to agree with John, it's actually a waste of your money for the most part.
Right.
Unless you have a plan each time you're out there to kind of recoup that bet each time before you go into what you're doing, it's going to eat you up.
Right.
It's like playing with an extra 8% edge all the time. It's like giving the house an 8% edge all the time if you're betting all 3 boxes.
All right. Anybody else want to chime in on the ATS? Well, I'm going to save you for last, John, because I know you have the math. I know you do. Anybody else? I play it all the time on every shooter. Whether I'm playing, at one of my locals, you can actually bet 2-1-2 or 1-1-1, but typically I'm 5-5-5 across it, and on some shooters I'm always 10-5-10. And
do you track it, Ed? That was the question. Do you track how many times you've won it and lost it? That was the core of it. I don't know that anybody
I
does.
know I've lost.
Yeah, I probably lost more than I have won, but it has made a winning session when somebody hits the all on a random person that goes out and you rack either 1,200 or 1,350, depending upon what you're playing at. But it's made a difference between a winning and losing session. But I would probably admit, John, that I probably have lost more than I have won. So let's go up to Dylan and Ed, and then we'll come back to the panel and John. Dylan, what do you think about the bonus bet, the all tall, the in town, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, I don't track it, but I
That's
do
not
play
Dylan.
it. Pardon?
That wasn't Dylan.
It is Dylan.
What?
No, I mean the guy you put on the picture.
Oh. Go ahead, Dylan.
I don't track the betting of it or what the question was. I don't do that, but I do play it, and then how I counter it is that I'll put that lay 9 helps cover that. So because the ATS is open when the 7 comes on the come out, and that's what part of the DP protection and the ATS combined. That's what that lay 9 will help protect. And so once the point's established, then we're off to the races, and I pull that lay 9 down. So it does. If you're a hedger, and I'm a hedger, then it does help. Again, it might be psychosomatic. It might be a placebo effect or whatever, but it's still, to me, I have a peace of mind that it's not naked. And then when that 7 comes, or that come out roll, and everybody else is getting scraped down, I have that little, peace of mind, thinking, okay, well, I'm cool. I'm cool with that, because I've made money on that 7 because of my late 9. So I'm okay with that. So I don't have an issue with playing the ATS.
Ed, your opinion on the bonus bet, and if you track it?
I usually track it during like the weekends, because I'm not like a bunch of you guys where I can run 20 minutes to a casino. I'm there for a weekend. Now, that being said, the main casino I play at doesn't have it, so I don't get to play it. Right? I just play in basic craps all the time, for the most part. Now, some of my favorite casinos do have it, not just down in Biloxi, but up in Tunica. They all got it. And I decided after I hit it the first time and I wasn't on it, that I'd bet it every damn time I threw the dice, regardless, because I liked it. And I don't bet it on everybody. I think that's a big drawdown. I only bet it typically on myself and other guys that I respect their toss. There are going to be times when some random's going to knock it out in 18 throws, right? It's going to happen. But, that's why I play the come out game the way I play it. I try to take advantage of the come out game to knock off an 11 or a 12 or an ace and a deuce. If I can knock off 2 of those, then I got a lot better chance on the come after, right there at the come out, and hadn't established a point. And guess what? I've even collected money. So, if you play it right and make it part of the game, it's a game within itself. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
It's a totally different game. So I use the come out game to kind of get into the ATS action if possible. Doesn't happen every shot. It's not going to. So from that standpoint, I like it. Now, you're more likely to hit one side or the other than you are all of them.
Correct. Yep.
And so I'm a believer in betting heavier on either side than the center. And I'm not talking about 2-1-2. I'm talking about 10-5-10. Yep. 50 quarter 50, something like that. Yeah, that'll get your attention. When that pays out, that's really pretty.
Yeah, it is. All right. So, Craig, since you popped back in there, your opinion on the ATS, and do you track it? I know you're a relatively new craps player, but
I don't track it, but I do. I play it occasionally. I don't play it on every shooter, and the times that I've hit it more times without betting it than I have when betting it. So I just overall I don't play it.
all right. No problem. Randy.
No, don't play it.
All right. I'm going to head to the professor, but I think it's going to be more of a preacher this time instead of Professor John.
No.
It's going to be Preacher John. Go ahead, John. Tell us about the ATS.
The only thing I could say about it, and you saw the video that I did, right? So the thing of it is most people play it with the pass line because the come out 7 covers your bet, right? And and the analysis that I did was just those bets. I didn't do it with anything else, right? So it's like if you play the ATS by itself versus playing with the pass line versus playing with the don't pass. And if the normal resolutions come out, you lose. Even if you hit the ATS, all 3 of them 2 times more than you're supposed to, you still come out behind because the come out 7s chew you up, right? Instead of getting a win on the come out 7, you're even. So you're giving them back the win, which is what most people do. And I'm seeing now that a lot of casinos are requiring a line bet to place the ATS.
Yes.
So I used to do it a little bit, like a 2-1-2 or whatever you're going to do, and then you let the come out roll come, then you go place your play. You can't do it anymore. You got to have a place bet, why do you think they require that? Because the place bet chews up the come out 7 on the ATS. They're just stealing money from you. And again, when they're stealing money from you, they get one of these from me every single time. That's just the way that I look at them. And I got on this little jihad that I'm on because you look at Facebook and all you see is what? Handful of chips, blah, 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 hit the ATS, blah, 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 hit the ATS. And okay, how did you play? Well, some random person hit the ATS and I had $100 on it. Well, good for you. If that's what crap's turning into, I wish it wasn't even a thing. Then and to me, I get super negative when I see stuff like that. Like, I enjoy a table without it. Let's just play. But me, give me old school regular craps, no bonuses, no crapless, and let's just go mano a mano with the casino. That's how I'd rather do it. But I'm an old fart.
It's called a bonus. It's called a bonus for a reason. It's called a bonus for a reason.
Bonus for them, not for you. It is printing money. It is literally, the casinos are printing money. When I did the analysis, I'm like, oh my God, this is so bad. Like, it's so much worse than I thought it was. When I looked at, if you hit the all, tall, and small twice as often as you ought to, you still are behind. I'm like, Jesus. They're literally,
You're assuming you're betting it on everybody, though, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I just did a straight up run on, like, if you play, if the number of passes happen as they should and the number of ATSs happen as they should, it's a full math analysis. So if it happens on the right rhythm, and I actually did it all myself, where I was throwing more than I should have. And that's what got me thinking about what happens if you actually do it double. It's so scary, like how much money that is. And I'm like, if it's taking up that much real estate, right, they're getting money out of it. And I think
it's changed the game, and in reality, it's probably changed the game for worse. I mean, I've seen a lot of people just sitting there playing a $5 pass line trying to throw until they could hit an ATS bet. I mean, that's not.
I think Jen plays with a group of guys that do that. They just literally put $25 pass line and they go 10, 5, 10, and they just wait it out. I'm like, that's crazy town.
Yeah, that's insane.
Just sitting there. I mean, waiting around for.
But it's like Heavy said in that first video I did. He knew that one lady who was a high limit slot lady, and she'd sit down there and smoke cigarettes, drink scotch, and bet a $75 pass line and 25, 25, 25, and nothing else. And then lightning would strike, just like a high slot, high limit slot. So it's not a great bet on average. We know that. If it was a great bet for us, it wouldn't be on the table.
Right. All right, let's move on. This is for Dylan, because Dylan's been so vocal tonight, as it was pointed out. Dylan, I've got questions in the form of a question about your late 9, and I know it's hard for you to see the chat, so I'm going to read them for you. And I have another question follow-up from James Newberry. This is from Darksider. He says, Dylan, why always the late 9? What is the 5 isn't rolling absent, and the 9 is rolling way ahead for the moment? And then he follows that up. Is it the same question? Why the late 9? Oh, it's the same question. And then James Newberry says, Dylan, what is the ratio that you've seen for the late 9 versus your line bet? So I know what you do on the late 9. I've played with you for 2 years. So go ahead and let's kick that question out of here. Go ahead.
Well, with the latter is the easiest to. The late 9 should always be double, minimum double of whatever your DP is, your don't pass. And that way the 7 is always profitable, and then you can incorporate that with the ATS as well if you wish. And for is Dylan feeling all right?
No, that's the same thing I put up. Keep talking. That's okay. Not for you.
So But what was the first part about the late 9?
Why is it always a 9 versus the 5? I think is what the question is.
Oh well, it does. You can pick either one because it's because of the dice set that I'm using. The 5 and the 9 are interchangeable. I just prefer if you're doing an iron cross or what have you, then you can attack. To me, in my mind, it's just easier to focus on the 9 than the 5. But if you're doing an iron cross, then you're using part of that with the 5 versus you're not using that with the 9. If that does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, but don't you typically go 3 times the DP on your lay 9? I mean, when we played together, I've seen you do mostly 3 more than 2 times.
I can make it. I've made it bigger, but it's minimum double because it's always double your DP is the minimum. But you can make it 3 times if you wish. But
to win double
always,
or place double, Simon?
I'm sorry.
Are you looking to win double, or are you making the bet double the size?
I'm making the bet double. So whatever your DP, whatever your DP is, then your lay 9 has to be minimum double whatever your don't pass is for it to pay for when the 7 hits. That way, it's a great and it's always. You always put it in increments. And the other thing that you have to know or you have to remember is that you have to put it in increments of 30. It's got to be in that increment because it pays 3 to 2. So you have to have it. It has to be 30, 60, 90, or some increment of either 30 or 15 where it will pay correctly because you don't want it to. You can't throw like 100 out there, lay 9, or if your DP is 50, you have to consciously know what it is. So or what it's going to pay, but so that DP that lay has to be in increments of either 15 or 30.
All right, Jacob wants to wager in on this one. Notice how I kind of work that in there for you, Jacob. Jacob want to wager in on this one. All right. You had a comment, Jacob?
I actually didn't. I was just trying to figure out how to close this out. I got to go. I got to make some of my own videos. I'm at my craps table right now.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by.
I'm not tech savvy enough.
Yeah, at the top of the screen.
Guys.
Yep. Yeah, at the top of the screen it'll say end
See you, Jacob.
interview. Yep. Take care. Thank you for stopping by. I thought he had a question that he was going to talk about the way that
I
he
thought he had to
plays.
go to the bathroom real bad.
No, I don't know that. Let me see. You at higher levels, it would be work to be profitable. I'm not sure which El Toro was referring to on this. Maybe back to the ATS question. I disagree and agree. At lower levels, you'll bleed out. At higher levels, it usually works out to be profitable.
Yeah, it's very hot out there.
Yeah. So I'm not sure which point of that you were trying to make.
Sounds like an ATS to me.
Yeah, I think so too. We actually had a follow-up ATS question real quick, and then I'm going to move on to another question. David from New York has asked, how long ago did the ATS and the fire bet come out? I honestly don't know. Does anybody know the answer to that? Anybody? I don't know.
How long ago what?
The ATS came out.
Yeah.
It's a bet. It's a bonus bet.
Yep.
Wow.
Ask ChatGPT or Google.
Yeah, one or the other. So
I'll do it.
It's been out 10 years, something like that. Maybe longer.
I honestly don't know. Let's see what John just.
I'm looking it up
John
right now to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought you put something out here, a question to it. So let's move on to another question while John's looking that up. We're going to go back a little while. We're going to talk about this. I have a question from Fritz, don't know if he's still here, about Crapsy, and we have a question from Cage and Andy about bubble craps we're going to get to. If you still have a question, capital Q. If you have a comment from one of the panel, put their letters in capital letters, and I'll draw my attention to it. So Arnell asked this quite some time ago and re-asked it again. What is your favorite casino to play? And why? So let's start down here with Randy, first time on the show. Randy, where do you play? What's your favorite casino, and why do you play there?
We have Mohegan Sun, we have Foxwoods, and we have Encore. Usually play at Encore because it's a lot closer to where I live. Favorite casino? I wouldn't say that. Their tables are all $25, $50 tables. Unless you get there early enough, they drop down to like 15. But that's where I usually play.
All right, Craig, your answer?
When I'm in Vegas, I do like the Mirage. It was the first one I ever played, and I actually do like the crapless table. I've actually not lost a day in profits yet at Mirage. I've lost a session, but I've come back later on and have either evened out or won profit. So I really like the Mirage. It's always been a $15 table. I've never actually played it when it was a 25, if they've ever gone up, but I enjoyed it a lot. And then Ellis Island, $5 tables. Can't argue with that on a Saturday night.
All right. Well, I travel, and my casinos in the backyard, I don't consider them my favorite for specific reasons, and I don't play there that often. My favorite tables in the AC area would probably have to be all three of the Caesars properties, the Golden Nugget, and Oceans. I have not played on the resorts as of late, and I haven't played at the Borgata in many years. So let's go to Ed. I know Hard Rock is your favorite when you're in Biloxi, but you did mention something about Tunica earlier.
I did, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
I love to play Hard Rock when I'm in Biloxi. That's where I stay. They treat me really well, so I guess that's why. Plus, I like the tables a whole lot. If I didn't like the tables, I wouldn't stay there. I could say someplace like Paris, because I've always played good at Paris in Las Vegas, but I haven't been there in 2 years, so that could be all screwed up. My all-time favorite place to play, if you put me up against the wall, would be the Horseshoe in Tunica. Why? Good tables, and they got the all tall small on it.
There you have it. All right, Dylan, your favorite place. I know you're in the St. Louis area. You got a few choices.
Yeah, we've got plenty of choices here. It's amazing. But my favorite is the Casino Queen that's in East St. Louis, Illinois, which is just right across the river from St. Louis. The reason why is we've got that it has the 12 on the field. It does have the ATS that does the 175 payout, and the high payouts. So it has that. It's got 10 times odds, so it's not a 3, 4, 5 or whatever. It's a 10x. They've got their $10 tables, and they have 4 craps tables, and there's I would say well over 75% of the time, 2 of them are always open, and then they'll open the third one. It depends on how packed they are, so they'll open the tables accordingly. So it's a really great, really nice, people friendly, open environment. The players tip. They have good table etiquette. Their comp systems for table games is pretty good. We also the other casino that's in St. Louis that I like is the Hollywood Casino. That they have really good comps as well. So there's some of them that I just really love the Casino Queen because it was the first real true casino in St. Louis that in St. Louis area that I liked, and then they incorporated the ATS, and like I said, they had all those extras, the extra bells and whistles. With all those other extra goodies, and you don't have that on every single, at every other casino that they have all of that combined. So that just makes it a win-win as far as I'm concerned. So that's why it's one of my favorites.
All right, so John, where do you play? I know I've heard you talk about the Seattle area, but I know you travel as well.
Yeah, so growing up, from 19 years old until I moved out here, I guess, we always went to Harrah's. My parents loved Harrah's. They've treated me like family my whole life. That's where I learned every game. So I'm loyal to Harrah's. Even in Vegas, I stay there because I love their tables. I love their dealers. It's always a great experience for me. Even though it's, it's the higher limits and it's the strict rules and all that kind of stuff. I've always had a good feeling there. I love the station properties, Palace Station, GVR. Great tables, and they're not rookie dealers. They're just solid dealers. So I like when it's just you getting that rhythm with the dealer crew. That's great. So to me, it's GVR at Station, Palace Station. It's Harrah's in Vegas. It's any Harrah's Caesar property down in AC. Out here, we have 2 major casinos out here. I like the one that's nearest to me, Tulalip. They've got a great table. It's if you're a thrower, Ed would make a fortune on this table. It's a beautiful thing. And the crew is great. They're just so they know us now, right? So it's just you walk in, it's like, hey John, how you doing? And we got our thing going on. It's awesome. The casino that's south of us, it's good, but it's a longer drive for me, and I don't know them as well. So I favor Tulalip when I'm here. But yeah, I love me some Harris. Harris is great.
All right, Dylan, you had a follow-up question about the Casino Queen. Was it boat or land-based?
Originally, it was a boat. And it actually toured the Mississippi River, and you could go up and down, and they had boat rides. But then they converted it into a land base, so it's all land based right now. So there is no boat anymore. So it's right adjacent to the Mississippi River.
All right. Real quick, John, we're going to backtrack. If you answer this question for Puckoff, your opinion is the ATS worse than playing in the field? I don't know if you answered it in chat or not, but I don't want to.
I did.
Back. Okay.
Yeah, the field is a bet that you're going to lose and right in front of you. You're going to lose or win on every single roll, so you're going to feel that bankroll, either the hammer on your bankroll or the win on your bankroll right now. The ATS is a slow bleed over time, so you won't notice it. Over your lifetime, the ATS will crush you. In the moment, the field will crush you.
All right.
The field can also pay your mortgage, right? The field is so streaky, like it'll, that thing can win a lot of money for you too. But yeah, it's the instantaneousness of it that's where you notice it.
Okay. I'm going to move on to these last couple questions. We're pushing up on the 2-hour time frame. Not that we can't go longer than that, but some of these I've held to the end because I know there may be some comments to be asked about it. If anybody else wants to put in their favorite casino while we're talking about these next ones, I will certainly display some of them as we go along and talk about them. So, going to go back to a couple hours ago. Not some topics. I'm going to answer Andy's question first, and hopefully he's still here. And Fritz's question after that. Bet scaling down to a bubble. What do I do to put a $25 bet? Is that $2 or $3? So I'm not a bubble craps person. John, you probably could answer this more than anybody. Although I did see in the month of June, I saw Ed sitting at a bubble craps table with Waylon playing bubble craps. I did see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, somebody in chat answered the question, but the math on that simple. Just drop down to $1. So every 5 is $1, right? Okay. If it's a nickel, it's $1, and make it super simple. If anything, you're going to go $6 across, but $2 on the 6 and 8 and make it $8 across. Easy. Okay. That's the way to do it, and you work like the mind or that kind of stuff, and it's just dollar presses.
All right. So this is a question that I hope we don't spend a lot of time on, and we'll move forward. Is what is the latest word on Crapsy? Crapsy is in the repair mode from an update they did a week ago Friday. They tried to do some things for the hosts to be able to not have you go out and search who's live. You can see on your live screen when you can go live. They pushed an update for us. They pushed an update for the leaderboard for everybody, and things kind of went haywire, and it's not been right since. The Windows version on a URL, a browser, I should say, a web browser, is supposed to be working appropriately. However, today on Brian's show, I had a 6 that didn't get paid, so I sent that over to Chuck. From a standpoint of your apps, it takes 48, 72 hours for when you push an update to Android, iOS, Apple, and or either one of those. It takes a while for them to pass their security features in order to put an update that's there. Mm-hmm. So I don't know any more than that. The process, John probably can tell you about how difficult it is to get an app published for the first time, let alone an update. But it's that's where it stands. And I have full confidence in the Crapsy support team, because in each one of my lives this past week, I had both Chuck and a developer on the table, and I sent them every chat that came through on my live shows, the Midday Mac show. I sent them to them, and they were able to read and be able to correspond that with what shoot or what roll, what happened. And, they're trying to address the issue of people not missing bets, and I think maybe they opened up a little more can of worms, but now they know what the problem is, and they're working to fix that. Version 2, I don't know what to tell you about version 2 because we've been concentrating on this one. If anybody else has any other information about Crapsy, I don't know what to tell you. But each one of us is beta testing it still today from a host standpoint. I think it's going to be usable when they finally get it corrected. I don't know what more. So I don't want to babble on here. So I hope that's the question. Does anybody else want to chime in on Crapsy? I know Ed doesn't play.
There is no real quote unquote official thing where you go to the App Store and there's no update that the version that you have still works, quote unquote, is still operational. So there's no really quote unquote update that we're able to do as a player right now. They're just working behind the scenes to make updates on their current on their stuff. Is that correct, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
don't be. I'm just saying, don't be misled where you think you might have to go and try to get something updated, because that's not the case yet. They haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay. Yep. All right. So, John, I know that you made a whole slew of suggestions to the Crapsy people, and from a developer standpoint, it's line coding. You think you have it fixed, but sometimes it's not that simple because you have different modules working with different things, and the amount of math. Like you take a table that Casino Quest has, 160 people on a table. That's a lot of data exchanging, which is just microseconds. But to make sure that the bets are halted, all the bets get booked, and after the roll dice comes in, they all get paid, and then it comes back to the leaderboard. That isn't a lot for a game to do.
Well, it is, and they're doing it on the way I understand it. They're making a calculation. So let's say you've got like my table, like my craps table had, I think, 4,600 rolls on it because it was a forever table with the daily paycheck. Every bet placed on that table. So you place a bet for $12. They run all 4,000 rolls against every bet you ever made, and then your $12 at the end. So they're recalculating the entire bankroll on every single roll for every single player, every single time. That amount of data going back and forth, and where the calculations happen on the client side, which is your browser or your app, then it goes back to the server to save it all. There's a huge architectural problem there, and that's what they're working on solving. Let's solve it on the server side and do it where the horsepower is, and then send you back the results, not have you calculate it. That's been the problem. They're working on it. They know the problem. But like you say, it's not easy. This is not easy stuff to solve, because I don't think they figured it was going to be these forever tables that we're doing. They figure it's going to be a quick little, let's turn it on, play a game, turn it off, and that's going to be it. 35 rolls, who cares? We're putting this thing at so much stress. They just weren't. I think they weren't ready for that kind of load that we're putting on it, because that's what the people want. People want forever tables, right? And I've asked them to do what they did now, which is have us all play all the time live. Take your bankroll with you, and that's hard to do too. That's super difficult. That they've given us that feature, which is a great feature. I just need to make it work performance wise. It's a thing. There's a ton of data going back and forth. You look at those data packets in your browser, you're like, oh my god, there's like the entire history of this game is coming back to me. So, but that was the decision they made in this one. I think version 2 doesn't have that problem, but version 2 is not ready yet. So you're in a really weird world right now with them. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. No, I appreciate that. Let's see. Let's go back and see a couple questions. A couple more popped in there. Sorry, guys. I was concentrating on the two fools that were trying to get in to show us things that
Jeremy.
so that we really didn't need to see, and I kicked one of them out. So we'll not let them in anymore. You talking about this comment here? John, is that the one you're talking about? When Ed plays Crapsy, we all better sharpen our skates because hell just froze over. I don't want to spend a lot of time on Crapsy. Chuck was actually going to come on the show tonight. He's between getting off a vacation on cruise and then also heading to Vegas for a couple of weeks for business. And hopefully we see continuation of some good things come out of that. There's something up here. Cat bonuses. Did you give them away in the heat? I'm not sure what this is. Let me put this up here because it's to me, and I don't know what it is. Jeff, I watched your Vegas video when you were tossing and seen some dead cat bonuses when you were shouting. Did that give you?
I'm talking about your toss.
Oh yeah, no, I never got any heat in Vegas for not hitting the back wall. I get heat all the time locally here. One of my locals gives you 5 seconds to throw it out, and both of them don't hit the back wall. They depend on what shift's working. They give you heat all the time. But when I was in Vegas, I did see a little bit of heat from some other people at some other places, but I did not. Darksider, I think I know what video you were talking about. I don't think it was my video. I think it's when I was on with Big AZ on one of his videos. I do believe that's what you're referring to. Let's see. Any more questions that came in while we're here? I do agree with you, Arnell. They do need to reverse engineer it, Craps Live update and calculate, and then the bankroll. I asked him, could they roll back to the Thursday date before the Friday push 2 weeks ago, and he said it was more trouble to do that. I'm not that type of coder on the back end side of it. John could probably answer whether it's easier to have a backup ready to go back to where you were and restore it and go over, but whether it is or it's not, Arnell, I don't know. I did ask that question as well. So. Let's see here. What else we have here? Latest word on crap. See, we took care of that. Let's go here to. We'll go to this question here, and then I'm going to finish it up. I started it with this show. I'm going to finish this one up. I just want to say that Jeff, how did it feel to be interviewed for once? And I'm telling you guys, it was the funnest show I've ever done. Simple as that. If you didn't watch it, Hawaii Crap Shooters. I'm only going to 10 seconds more. Hawaii Crap Shooters last night, 2 hours with Brian, who's a very generous, gracious host. And John, you can speak for this. When you're hosting something and you're running things, it's kind of hard to do it. But when you're on the opposite end and you can just flow free, it was just nice. I got a lot of great comments. One comment from David today said that the people saw a side of me that they don't normally see because I'm Jeff the Entertainer on my channel. Here I'm a moderator, but it was fun. I appreciate the question, Joe. It was really fun. So let's go up here and see, do we have any more questions? And we'll go around the panel, and if somebody would like to come into the after show, I'll let everybody into the after show, including the two clowns that just tried to get in, and they wanted to show us something we probably didn't want to see. But the after show will take place on the Zoom link, and we'll see what takes place there. No more questions coming in. So, Dylan, this is Season 2, Episode 13. We're getting ready to come to a close here on the show. What do you think about tonight?
Oh, I love tonight. I'm trying to be... I've always tried to be humble and cordial, and the show is about everybody and everyone's opinion and stuff. And that's why I hold back and not try to... I don't want to hog the show. I want to comment last. I want to hear, because I want to hear from you all, and and from all the guests and from all the people out there in the public. This is all about you guys, and I'm not trying to make it about me and or what have you. So I'd rather be the fly on the wall and give my 2 cents and afterwards, because I want to hear from you guys, and that's what it's all about. Craps Chat is about you guys, and you guys make it special, and so that's one great part. That's what I love about the show. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right. So, Ed, thanks for coming by and stepping in, because I didn't hear from Dylan today. He kind of threw me for a scare there for a little bit earlier, but you came in the show. You've contributed again. I appreciate your friendship and your contribution to the show. What did you think of tonight?
I enjoyed it. I've turned over a new leaf. I'm really a nice guy these days.
Who said you were never
always a nice guy?
Never
always a nice guy.
Yeah.
Have you got your schedule for next month set up yet?
I do and I don't. I was going to.
I know Dylan normally asks that question.
Yeah, no, I do. But the problem is that I'm heading to Atlantic City, and 2 weeks from today is when I travel back. I don't know that we can't have a show, but it's also Labor Day weekend, so I really need to think that through, whether we're going to go out on Labor Day weekend or not. So I'm really thinking we're going to do the 10th and the 24th of September. But I could do a show next week. But I'll be traveling back, get home about 6 o'clock my time, and we could do a show. But with Labor Day weekend, I think we've been skipping holidays, so I think we're going to look at the 10th and the 24th. Did you have something scheduled for the 27th as your next tale of the you got a $5 bill coming out?
That I do. A week from tonight, we've got $5 Bill, who's an old timer.
Awesome.
$5 Bill is a player on the don't side all the time. Okay, and he's 78 years old, and he can still shoot the ATS.
Nice.
And
All right.
like I say, he's a disabled veteran from the Vietnam era. And I'm not going to give away too much, but I would appreciate everybody giving him any kind of listen to his story. Just listen to his story, and he gets into his personal story at the end. The last 20 minutes or so of the interviews, I got into his personal story a little bit. And if you like veterans, like I do, you'll get real irritated when you hear his story. So, I hope you enjoy it. I will. I know it'll be good. And I'll be honest with you, it was a little bit difficult to interview. He and I had never met. We've never talked. We just, in fact, you're going to hear me echo instead of the person echo. And the reason you're hearing me echo in the interview is because the only way he could hear me through his computer, he couldn't ever get it to work. So he just put me on speakerphone.
Okay.
So I interviewed him by speakerphone and recorded him coming in on my feed. So there's going to be an echo on my side, but not his side.
All right. We just had a question come in for you. I'm going to head down to Randy and Craig. I'm saving a question for John and me here at the end before we wrap it up. But there's a question came in from Jeremy Bennett, big supporter of my channel and most of the channels that are out there. I know he's subscribed to you as well because he watches our dual Thursday night shows. What is going on with Ed, and what's it going to take to get Ed to Vegas for John's Crapsathon in November?
I'm not going to be there. I want to be there, but I'm not going to be there.
Okay. Well, maybe 1 year, because this is the
Number
first
one,
year
you're going to
for
have to cancel the Formula One race. That ain't going to happen.
That's true. That is true. All right, let's head down to Craig. Craig, your thoughts on the show tonight and anything going on in Old Bay Craps? That video you put out today, I mentioned it earlier for the people that weren't here. It was fun to watch, but man, it was fun, but it was hard to watch.
Yeah, well, no, I thought it was a great show. It was actually great to hear from Dylan, Mr. Motormouth over there. Yeah, right now I have the Summer Slim Down still going on. But what I do want to say was it was really great to get back to movie strategies again. And I got a lot of positive response for Cool Hand Luke, which is one of my favorite movies. It was a favorite movie that I watched with my dad growing up. So I'm looking forward to new suggestions from folks. If you have a suggestion, I'm not even opposed to if you have a favorite television show that you want to put in chat sometime. I can do bets to television as well. But it was nice to get back to that because my production has gotten better. And this was the first one where I've included clips from the movies. It gets you a copyright claim, but it doesn't matter. The studio that owns it or whoever owns it, they were fine with it.
All right.
So,
all right. I got a couple people trying to get into the room. I think you're coming for the after show. The show's almost over with, but I will let you in. Just give me 1 second. I recognize both names. I just hopefully that it's both of you. Randy, first time to the show tonight. Welcome, and I hope you had a good time. I know you had a little bit of input, and what'd you think?
Oh, love the show. I mean, it's one of my favorite parts. I've watched 3 or 4 of the episodes. I just realized it was on, and I wanted to come in to thank all of you for all the content you put out because it's great. It's nice. I'm learning a lot, and believe it or not, I feel I'm making new friends, even though I've never met any of you. But I really love coming in, and I work during the day, and some of the shows I catch live, and some of the shows I watch when I have a minute. So, I mean, I really love this, and it's great to have people like this out there.
All right. Well, before I head over to John, and he and I are going to close the show out tonight, Craig, you had a couple suggestions. Do one on MASH. Joe's a big Harry Potter fan, and Gargoyle wants to see something on Blazing Saddles. Blazing Saddles, although it's an older movie, could be really fun strategy, Craig. Just a hint there. I know you can't do the one I
fun
suggested.
or it could be very risky.
All right, so everybody that's here, hang in till we get past the outro. John, I saved the question you probably saw, which one I'm going to put up here, and I think you and I will close the show out with this one, and we'll talk about it. This came from Duracell over 2 hours ago, and he wanted to know
Oh my goodness.
Has the chat drama behind the scenes settled down, and I'm happy to say that I believe it is. I think it is, and I think that everything is going well. I don't want to dwell on what the drama was. Most people knew what the drama was, but all the interested parties met together yesterday, and I think we had a positive outcome. And John, what is your take on that?
Yeah, it was good. We had a great talk. We got on Zoom, and it was a little bit contentious at times, for sure, right? And that's how it's going to be. And I think we made the point that we're all marching in the same order, right? This group that we've built, we're all friends but not lovers. Let's just say that, right? Friends but not lovers, and we're going in the same direction. Ultimately that's what it's all about. We're not going to agree on every damn thing. My wife and I fight all the damn time, but we still love each other, and that's kind of what we're doing here. I think that's a good thing. The drama has gone, I think, bye-bye. I have two things to say to the group. One, Craig, The Punisher has to be a strategy, and The Walking Dead has to be a strategy. Both of those. And that's my request. My two favorite shows. You guys can probably guess. I listen to like thrash metal music and death metal and The Punisher and The Walking Dead. Now you certainly know more about who I am as a person. Probably one of the darkest people you guys probably know. But also want to call this out because it's super important. Craig, you look great. The slim down's working.
Thank you.
And you've inspired me. I'm literally, I joke about it. I'm doing push-ups and planks every single day. I just don't put it on camera. I'm working my ass off. Chiro scared the shit out of me. So and you're inspiring. So thanks for keep that going. Right, keep it going. We all need to get better. Dylan, you look great. I put a chat out there. You've looked like you've lost a bunch of weight. You look really good. Like I know it's noticeable. You look really good,
brother.
So I just want to call that out. Everybody, we just lost Chiro, right, to a heart problem. Get walking, do something. Whatever that something is, do something. Walk your dog more often. Whatever it's got to be, get off your asses. That's my preacher moment. We all need to be here, and it doesn't take much.
All right, I'm
so there it is. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah,
I'm going to put this up here. I don't know how it's going to display, but I was going to save this for the last thing I was doing. But since you segue into it, that is the Chiro shirt. Nobody makes money off that except the manufacturer that's putting it out. If you go to the website, John, can you type the website in real quick for that? Can you put the website in where they can buy one?
It's
Yep, that is the Let's Go Churro, and here is the actual logo that's sort of on it with it, less the heart side of it, but that's the shirt. If you want to, you go out, and we talked about it earlier that Churro's Celebration of Life is going to be September 23rd. John had mentioned it on one of his shows that, it'd be nice if we had those shirts and showed up. I'm a former person at a funeral. I'll probably be in a shirt and tie, but hopefully the shirts will be in by then. And to everyone that won shirts on my show last week, I still have not processed the order. That will take place tomorrow while John's talking on his coffee and crabs. So
Jeff, you think it's going to be formal? There's going to be a bunch of 50-year-old dudes out there with their shirts off on this thing. We're all wearing purple shirts. We're all going to do the thing. It's going to be ridiculous. Yes. We'll be respectful, of course, but you know what's going to happen, right? And I think Crystal will love the silliness. She's so great, by the way. You talked on the phone. She's got the best attitude. She just loved him so much, and she really appreciated what a character he was.
Well,
and that's like the best talks we've had.
She did a little live on his channel, which I was surprised to see as anybody, but it was late night on the East Coast. I caught the last 60 seconds. She and I texted back and forth, and it just broke my heart what she said, but I'm glad you got to talk to her. My talking with her has been strictly through text messaging, but I'm looking forward to seeing everybody out there. And John, no disrespect, I'm probably not going to make the Seattle meetup, but I may see you in St. Louis and definitely in November. Yeah. So with that said, anybody that wants to come over to the after show, hit the Zoom link, and we will get out of here. From a standpoint of myself, I want to extend a sincere thank you to everybody that came on the show tonight, all the people in chat. I think we peaked at 75 concurrent viewers, many more views than that. We're maintaining at 71. I hate to leave leave the show like this, come on over to the after show. Sometimes it goes a while, sometimes it doesn't. We just never know what's going to happen in the after show. And to Arnell's question, what drama? If you come over there, we might talk a little bit about it so everybody can know. Joe, if you're still here and you're still up, if you can come on into the after show, I'd appreciate that too. Craig, if you'll stick around, if anybody has any questions about that. I made a comment last night. I got a text message here. Somebody just asked me, Jeff, you made a comment on the Why Crap Shooters interview last night. You said that you were going to be hosting the Crap Chat show, and I did say that. I said that I would finish season 2. I don't know what's going to happen into season 3. For those of you that know, that are close to me, that know my future, what I'm doing, and at my age, what I'm doing, I'd rather produce the show than to be the host on the show. But I think I'll be around for a while. But I'm here through the end of December when the season ends. So you got to put up with me for a few more months, and I'll let that go with that. Guys, come on over and check out the after show. I'm going to go ahead and end the show here, and we will see you on the next one. It'll be September 10th, unless Dylan tells me it doesn't work for him. September 10th, 2023, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. If you're in between, then you know what it is. We'll see you on the next one. Till then, guys, be safe, play smart. Come to the after show.